I said it yesterday in the press conference, and I mean it. Every day I come home and I tell my beautiful wife, Tricia MacIntyre, stand up, Tricia. How much I fall in love every day again with the University of Colorado. As I go out in the community, as we go out through the state of Colorado, as we go recruiting young men's homes, how much pride, how much great history there is here, not only athletically, but especially academically, how respected this university is, and all the places we go gives me great pride, gives me a great product to present to young men and to their parents. I said yesterday it was like Christmas. It is. It's like Christmas to me on signing day. And as you get to know these young men and get to know their stories and get to know their aspirations and their future, it re-energizes me every day. And I can't wait to get more involved with the guys on our campus as we'll dive into that starting Tuesday more and more. And we've been working with them. Our coaches all met with every player on the team individually the last 2 days. And I've already done that and met with a bunch more the other day. And they're excited about the future, and they're working hard in the weight room with Dave Foreman and Kerry Johnson, and our workout group are doing a great job there. But I'll tell you a little bit about, real quick, in a brief synopsis, what this program is going to be all about. I'm about building young people, about them reaching their goals. I want to get a phone call when they're 30 or 35, and they're sitting across the kitchen table, and they got those two snotty-nosed brat kids that they're trying to go, and the wife's over there, and they've got to go out another day on that job. And it might not have gone just like they're supposed to. They might have gotten passed over in a promotion, and they're thinking, should I keep doing this? Should I keep fighting? And I want them to remember a lot of the values that we taught them, and then they learned being a Colorado Buffalo, that they learned in the classroom, that they learned on the football field, that they learned in the offices, that they learned that we truly care about them more as a person than we do as a player. They're going to be great players, and we're going to win a lot of games. But if you truly care about somebody and they truly know it, in any business you're in, they give you all they have because they know you care about them more than just a product, more than just a player, more than just a salesman. And I want them to carry that on to be successful in life. So we start with a thing called the 4 F's, and I'm going to go very fast. The 4 F's. And you ask our players, they know it. Foundation, family, future, and football. Foundation is about who they are as a person. To build anything, you got to have a foundation. And each one of the foundation on our program is each one of our young men. And each one of them are part of that foundation. And we can't have a lot of cracks in that foundation or we won't be successful. And we do a lot of things to build that. A lot of coach mentor meetings with our players individually. A lot of different life lessons, I call them. I give them life lessons all the time. Sometimes they hear them, sometimes they don't, but eventually it all creeps in. And they grow as people. And I want them to realize to separate themselves from a football player, who basically that's what their identity is right now, into who they are as a person. Okay, if all they get is their self-worth from being a football player, life's going to be tough when that ends. I want them to grow and separate that too. And when they do, they even become a better football player. The second part is family. It's extremely important to be a family on a football team. But we've got all walks of life. We've got every person from every different environment. We've got all different races. And so you have to come together. So Tuesday we divide the team up into 9 groups of 12. We have every nationality in it, every year, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Every position represented in the groups. We even let kickers in the groups, their own part of the team, okay, so they can get to know them. And those guys will do community service together as a group, okay. They'll compete in the weight room a group. They compete in academics as a group. Each coach has a group besides just his position group. We do a thing called we call 101, where the guys share in the group about different things in their life so you can get to know everybody's story and everybody can bond. But they're also held accountable and responsible to each other. I got a couple of 40-year-old buddies that lives are totally messed up because they never really learned accountability and responsibility. And we start teaching that to these young men, that their actions truly reflect and influence other people and have responsibility to other people and other things happen. For example, we check every class. We got some class checkers here today. We check every class. If a young man misses class, not only will he run, but his other 11 buddies in his group run, okay? So now they realize my actions truly affect other people, okay? If they do something good, we reward the whole group. We'll do all types of things, but we want them to learn accountability and responsibility, and they learn it fast. And what's funny, they all get each other's cell numbers, they all get each other's Facebook names, and they're keeping them, they're knowing who's going to be where, and it's amazing. After a while, we won't be running anybody. And they really, truly realize they start caring about each other. So family's big. I like to go in and see them eating together. The thing that I don't like is I don't like walking in the cafeteria there and seeing all the Polynesian guys sitting with all the Polynesian guys and all the African-American guys sitting with all the African-American guys and all the white guys sitting with the white guys. I hate it, and they'll learn to know it. I want them to love each other no matter what. People are people, and when they start learning that, it's the greatest thing to see, and it is so awesome. It's so awesome to see that happen. And then the third thing is future. That's what I call their academics. Football is not their future. Academics is, period. Football is giving them the opportunity to get it free, about $300,000 worth of free. And they need to understand and not take that for granted. And as they do that, and they realize the person they want to be and what they want to do academically and the future they have, they care about each other on the team, and they really bond, and they know each other's story. They become close, and you can't break that bond. They have a good foundation of the person they're trying to become and be. When it comes to football, they're freed up, and they can be the best football player you've ever seen. And so if they have those three things together, and they carry that on in life, and they learn that in our program, they're going to be extremely successful. That's what our program's about. And then football, I promise you, we're going to win a lot of games in time. I promise you. We won more games than they've ever won in the history of San Jose State University. And when I went there, they were about to drop the program. And now it's on good footing and headed on the right way. We will do the same here and in a process. The cornerstones of our program will be discipline and conditioning. Most young people think discipline is taking their cell phone away, taking their car away, grounding them. No, that's the punishment side. Discipline is disciplining your mind, your soul, and your body daily. The conditioning part is doing it week after week after week. And then you can become the person you want to be. You can reach every dream you've ever wanted to reach. And our young men will do that and learn that in a process. Recruiting-wise, real quick, we have already been to 52 schools in the state of Colorado in the last 3 weeks, along with all the other guys who are recruiting. We've already offered 5 young men in the state of Colorado that we've been able to find out enough about academically, athletically, character-wise. We will go in every single school in Colorado. I would say we're going about 98% of them. We'll have 4 coaches in the state of Colorado that will completely comb it, I like to tell them, and in the month of May. And we will evaluate them all, and we will have more young men. There are more young men in this state that are BCS football players that would bleed gold and black. And we're excited about that. We're also going to encompass the whole state of California. We'll have 6 coaches there. We know that state very well. We'll get a lot of good football players out there. We're going to put 3 dynamic coaches in the state of Texas. 2 of them lived there for a long time. One of them is the Jim Jeffcoat, who will recruit in the Dallas area. So we feel like we're going to have a good inroads in those areas. So the future is bright. We have a plan. We're excited about getting our hands on our young men coming up. We'll start meeting with them. We'll start doing conditioning workouts, and then we'll start spring practice. Real quick on spring practice, we're going to do half a spring practice before spring break. Everybody goes, well, why do you do that? We do it so we can evaluate. We're going to have 8 practices before spring break. Then our staff is going to work spring break, and we're going to evaluate our team, really discuss it, and then come back afterwards, have a good depth chart, and then start preparing the next 7 days and developing our football team further. And then we'll start in the fall, have a phenomenal fall. We'll have all our freshmen come in our bridge program, which is an unbelievable thing that we do to develop our players and have them ready for college. And then we'll crank it up in August and be ready to go. What I'd like to do now is just talk to you about our class that we just signed. 20 excellent young men. And first of all, I'd like to just congratulate our staff, their tireless work. They hit it running after the Military Bowl, hired a couple other guys that hit it and joined right in. I'd like to thank our university of accelerating the hiring process so we could get them out there quick. It was a magical thing they did, and we were able to do it. We kept all 10 commitments that we had coming in, and that was big. Those young men were bombarded like crazy, and they even up to the last hour before signing date. And then we were able to find 10 other young men to come in. 2 of them have already enrolled in school, big athletic linebackers that you'll like to see. And they're already here in January. Another great thing by our university, allowing those young men. They're both excellent students, but we did it so quick. We had to turn it around about 2 days, and I really appreciate that, and they're doing great. So first of all, we'll start with the receiving corps. Bryce Bobo, young man from Charter Oak High School, big, athletic, fast young man, stands at 6'3", 190 pounds, very, very fast. Charter Oak High School was good to us at San Jose State. Our linebacker there was the WAC Defensive Player of the Year. Very, very good player. The coach there does a great job. Charter Oak competes extremely well. Bryce is a phenomenal young man and has overcome a lot. His younger brother, when he was 4 years old, accidentally hit a gun and shot and killed his dad. And so the young man has grown up with his mom, has overcome so many things, is an excellent student, and he can run like the wind. And he can also play defensive corner. I know Coach Troy Walters doesn't like to hear that. I'm a defensive guy at heart on the secondary, but he's a two-way player. I love getting two-way players out of high school because I think they've played more. They understand the football game better. Elijah Johnston from Chaminade Prep. Another young man, a fast wide receiver. He ran a 47 400 meters last year. He can fly. I think the track team will be looking for him. I think he'll be in the 46s this year. He can run like the wind, has good size and good speed. I felt like we needed, watching the tape, I felt like we needed more speed on our football team. So we went out and kept up and got it, and we're excited about this young man. Really neat guy. Coach Bernardi did a good job recruiting him. And it was fun visiting with Elijah because Elijah lives in an area where Coach Bernardi, as a kid, did the paper route for. And I asked Coach Bernardi if he even had cars back then when he did the paper route. But it was fun listening to him tell the stories, and took me to, what was that place called, Freddy's or Tommy's, Coach, that down there in L.A. that you like to eat the chili? Tommy's Burger. So make sure y'all go to Tommy's Burger right there. It's down the street from him. Elijah is a heck of an athlete. Devin Ross. Phenomenal, quick athlete. Had over 15 plays last year of over 50 yards or more. Coach Troy Walters was up late the night before signing date because Nebraska was trying to get this kid with all they had, and he did not want to go there. He came and stayed at Colorado. Neat thing about this young man, he lives with his dad and his great-grandparents. They're 95 years old. They've been married 65 years. His great-grandfather fought in World War II in Korea, and just a year ago finally got his Purple Heart and his Medal of Honor. And he told us the whole story. It was an amazing story. To go in these young men's houses and see the things and meet the people and see how special they are, you can see why this kid has such great determination and everything. Kenneth Oglebody, young man from Bellarmine Prep. He was the CCS Player of the Year, the Northern Cal Player of the Year, played tailback and linebacker. He's going to be a mechanical engineer, just a phenomenal young man. The interesting thing about him, his mom and dad are from Nigeria, came over here, and next year his brother is on scholarship at Stanford playing football. His other brother is on scholarship at Idaho playing football. And this young man, Kenneth Oglebody, will be at Colorado on scholarship playing football. Phenomenal family. He'll play linebacker for us. I am a big stickler. If we can get running backs that play linebacker, to me they always make the best linebackers because all their lives they've been carrying a ball and they can see the hole and they can feel it and they have instincts that you haven't seen before. Chido Bayawuzi. This young man, his parents are also from Nigeria. And he's from there in the San Jose area. was a great tailback, a great DB. He's already, if he walked in here, you would not say he was a freshman. He's a 6 foot, half-inch tall, 190-pound corner that can fly. Really excited about Cheeto Bay. It came down between us and Oregon State and Washington State. We have this young man's from Oak Grove High School in San Jose. He's been in our football camps at San Jose State for the last 3 years, so I've known him since a 10th grader, and really love this kid. 3.4 student, extremely good athlete, great basketball player, and just did everything for their team. He'll play corner for us and return kicks. Cheeto Bay. His went down to the wire. He didn't make a decision until Tuesday night, and I text Phil right after and said, hey, we got Cheeto Bay. He was excited. He can really run, has great ball skills. He's a physical corner. He's not one of those guys that runs away from contact. Tedrick Thompson, young man from Valencia High School, big safety, very athletic. As you'll see him make plays here and watch how he hits. He's 6'1", 205 pounds right now. He will be a 215-pound safety. Might even grow into be an outside linebacker. We play so many spread football teams that you really need safeties, corner-type safety guys playing in the nickelback area, and I think he can do this. Very physical athlete. Unique young man. He has a brother who is the starting safety for the University of Minnesota as a junior. Minnesota and Fresno State were our big battles because he's from in that area, but it came down to us in Minnesota. He went to Minnesota on the last weekend, and it was really cold in Minnesota that weekend, so I was very excited. My prayers were answered. George Frazier. George is a big Mike linebacker. I also play defensive end. But George is an interesting story. He grew up his whole life playing quarterback. Well, 2 years ago, he went from 6 foot, 190, to now 6'2", 255. He can really run, and I was kind of teasing him. I told him he's one biscuit away from being a defensive end, and so he went out for the basketball team. And he's playing basketball, and very excited about George, and going in his home. We sat in his home and ate dinner, and that's one good thing about going on all these visits. You get to eat a lot of dinners. And one night, Clayton Adams and we were behind in recruiting. Clayton set up a visit at 4, 6, and 8. Well, guess what? We ate at 4, 6, and 8. And when you go in the mom's house, you better eat everything, and you better like everything, or you're not going to get that kid. And so we did. It was so funny. As soon as we got in the car, we literally just kind of sat back and just like looked at each other. We were full, and all 3 kids came. So we did a good job, Clayton. Matter of fact, it was so funny. One of the moms, this is serious. The dad sitting at the end of the table. He told us. She walked out and went in the kitchen. He goes, hey, I've eaten in the dining room now twice since you've come. You get to come back again next week, right, Clayton? Good, I get another come back on Wednesday, because that's the night she gets off work early. And so he got 3 home-cooked meals, and I got to eat in the dining room all 3 times. He didn't get the old work on the refrigerator, work it out, husband, work it out, Jimmy Gilbert. Jimmy's a young man from Texas A&M Consolidated. This is the high school that Troy Walters went to. Really athletic kid. Very excited about Jimmy. Jimmy comes from great stock. His dad played at Texas A&M on the basketball team and was drafted by the Chicago Bulls and played for them for 5 years. His mom played for North Texas's basketball team, and he plays basketball too, but they're really tall. His dad's like 6'9", 6'10". His mom's 6'3". His sister's the starting forward for Texas A&M in basketball, and A&M recruited him. For some reason didn't offer him. I have no idea why, because I think that might have been where he would have gone, right there in his backyard. But he offered by a tremendous amount of other schools, and we are excited they screwed it up, to be honest with you. He's 6'4.5", he's 235 pounds, and he can run like the wind. He's a fast defensive end that can rush the passer. Addison Gillum, young man from Foothill High School in Palo Cedro, California. It's way up there. It's up above Redding. And he's a very good football player. He's a young man that was gray shirting at San Jose State University. And after I got the job here, I read on the internet that he was visiting Washington State, and then also Oregon State was in Fresno State. We're trying to talk to him, and he was going to probably visit there. He was not going to go to San Jose State now. And then like a day later, my phone rang, and it was him. He said, "Coach," I said, "I'm definitely interested," because I made up my mind. I wasn't going to go recruit kids that were committed to them. I think that's completely wrong. But if they decided to change their mind and they were going to go visit a lot of other places and they called me, then I would talk to them. And I did, and sure enough, he's very, very bright, and he was able to come here and go to school in January. He's in our workout program. He's doing a great job, and I believe you'll see him playing this year on Saturdays because he's very well developed and a very good linebacker. Next guy is Ryan Severson. Ryan's a linebacker / running back. He gained 1,900 yards and 32 touchdowns as a running back in the highest classification in California. He was first team All-California. He also made 70-something tackles on defense, and he was the Offensive CCS Player of the Year, Northern Cal Offensive Player of the Year, and he played at the rival school to the Bellarmine young man, Kenneth Oglebody. Ryan will either play tailback or he'll play linebacker for us. Again, in all these spread offenses, he ran a 10-800 meters last year. We expect him to run a 10-7 or a high 10-6s. He can really run, and we're excited about Ryan. He's a 4.0 student and phenomenal young man. And he happened to play with my son last year at Valley Christian, so I got to see him play a lot, and excited about having Ryan here. And in all the spread offenses you play today, you better have speed at linebacker, and you better have speed at safety. And that's what we're getting, and that's what we're doing. And he's a very, very good player. Next, Tim Coleman. Excited about Tim from Mullen High School. When I first got here, I said, let's put on I asked the graduate assistants, I asked Chappelle, I said, can y'all give me like two of the best teams in Colorado and let me watch them? So they put on Valor versus Mullen, opening game. So I watched the game. I said, "Ooh, this is a good game." And about the fifth play, I said, "Stop the film." I said, "Who is 56? And they go, "That's Tim Coleman." I said, "Well, let's get him going." "Well, Coach, he's already committed to Colorado State." I said, "Not for long." And we went after him as hard as we could, and come to find out, this is where he wanted to come all along. And we were really excited about getting him. His parents were, and Tim's going to be a heck of a player. He's a defensive end that can rush the passer, very athletic. And this is De La Salle. So he played Valor, and he played De La Salle. And I didn't watch the highlight tapes or anything on him. I just watched game tech. And when you play Valor and De La Salle, I don't know if you know much about De La Salle. They're the winningest football high school program in the country. They haven't lost a game in Northern Cal in 23 years. Okay, they're phenomenal. Well, Mullen was beating them at halftime, and then he got hurt, and then they won. And the young man wasn't able to play the rest of the year, and got his knee operated on. He's completely well. He's way ahead of schedule, and he's a heck of a football player, and I enjoyed watching. The guy that he went up against is going to, I think he went to, did he go USC, the tight end, guys? Is that where he went? Okay, he went to USC. He was whipping him all day long. So Marquise Reed, Vintage High School. Marquise is a great young man. He's from the Napa Valley, gorgeous area. He was a young man that was supposed to go to USC. And USC dropped him at the last second. He went ahead and graduated early from high school. He's extremely bright. He's 17 years old, and he had it all worked out. And then all of a sudden, USC just dropped him. And so I found out about it. I didn't tell a soul. The coaching staff was still working, and I called his mom. I got him up here on a weekend in between the dead period. We had 2 days we could get him in. Got him in. Talked to the school and said, "Hey, got his transcripts." They said, "Well, he's great." We got him enrolled in school. Boom, he was in. Nobody knew he was here, and we got him. And we're excited about Marquise Reed. He's 6'4" 1/4", 225 pounds, and he's only 17 years old. And so his mom said, "Make sure you keep him away from all those girls if he's only 17 right now." I said, "Yes, ma'am, I will." I saw him walking across campus with a girl the other day, but I don't know. So Gunnar Graham. Gunner's from Marin Catholic High School. Gunner's a big athletic youngster, 6'5" 1/2", 295 pounds. Played on a great team. This highlight video, how many of y'all saw the movie Blind Side? This highlight video reminds me of that. He just takes them and pile drives them. And you'll see a lot of our offensive linemen doing that. Coach Bernardi's a phenomenal offensive line coach, and Really, we had recruited Gunner a little bit at San Jose State, but he had already was thinking about Colorado, and we just kept working it. Their football program went to the state finals the last 2 years, and we'll see this quarterback. Their quarterback's going to Cal, but he's a heck of a player. The Woodlands, Jonathan Huckins. Jonathan's a big offensive guard. His mom's from England, so it's fun when you talk to her on the phone, and when we went to the house, she's really a lot of fun, and his dad. Jonathan's a big, strong kid, plays at Woodlands High School, a big program, highest classification in Texas, very athletic. We have 2 young men from there. He's 6'3", a 300-pounder, great energy. I think he'll be one of those, what I call a road grader, has good balance, and there goes another play like the blind side. Here they are playing at Baylor University in the state playoff game, and he's making some plays here. Another young man from the Woodlands, Sam Cronsage, big offensive tackle. He's an offensive tackle, very athletic, and excited about Sam. Real quick, Coach Bernardi recruited these 2 guys along with Coach Walters. Well, Coach Bernardi got it set up for some reason where he would be the guy getting to go to dinner at this house. So they have it we go to Sam's house, and they live in the Woodlands, and Sam's dad's done pretty well. So this house is phenomenal. It's at the end of a cul-de-sac, and you walk back through the woods, and the mom was an architect, so she built it all. And as you can imagine, if your wife's the architect, you're the husband, she probably builds more than you want, correct? That's usually what happens anyway. So the house is really nice, but she cooks dinner for us, and the Huckins come over, and we had gumbo. It was unbelievable. And I had to have 2 helpings. You know, that was part of the recruiting process. And then, Coach, what was that? You got 2 helpings of the dessert you love. What kind of dessert was that, Gary? Bread pudding. And he just kept talking about the bread pudding the whole rest of the night. And they signed on the dotted line. So a lot of it has to do with the food. There's no doubt about it. John Lasilla, Columbine High School. Phenomenal young man. John is a very, very athletic offensive tackle that also plays lacrosse. He's an excellent lacrosse player. But his weight's down a little bit. He only weighs 240, but he has a frame, and he's 6'5". And so once we put some weight on him, he's going to be a heck of a player. I am not afraid at all of signing athletic linemen that aren't quite the size yet, because I believe when they have the athletic ability and they put on the weight correctly, they're phenomenal players. And the young man that we had, one of the young men we had at San Jose State was a tight end that we moved to offensive tackle, and he'll be drafted. And he was kind of reminding me of him. And he's a heck of an athlete. You can see how well he can run. And went by Columbine High School, visited with their head coach and the school and their principal. What a neat place. We all know about that, but the same principals there, the same head coaches there, walking in that school around those kids, I was really, really inspired. And Columbine and this young man, John Lasilla, we're really excited to have them, and we'll keep recruiting young men from there. Next. Orange Lutheran, Colin Sutton. From Foothill Ranch, Orange Lutheran. His sister, you might have seen, is Chloe Sutton, the great swimmer that swam in the Olympics. And we are trying to get her to come to Colorado, because she's about to finish up, and she really liked Colorado. We're trying to get her to come to school with him. And he's an excellent athlete, very, very aggressive. His dad played at the Air Force, so he grew up kind of a military brat. And really, really excited about Colin. He's kind of reshaping his body. It's funny. He's kind of got into the P90X CrossFit, and he's trimmed down his body. Instead of being 310, he's 295 now. He's moving good, looks good, and I'm excited about that. Michael Atkins, tailback from Helix High School. They won the state championship a year ago. He was all CIF. He ran a 10,800 meters last year. He's also a 4.06 student, and he broke a lot of San Diego records. He gained, I think he scored 24 touchdowns last year and 1,900 yards in 11 games. Split time his sophomore and junior year with another good running back, but still ended up with over 3,400 yards rushing and 40-something touchdowns. Phenomenal young man. Either wants to major in engineering or business, and is off the charts. He's a fun kid. His family is really neat people that we've known for a long time, and excited about Michael choosing to come here. I think he brings a speed and athleticism at the tailback spot. And you can watch him run here. He's out for track practice. He told me he's going to get in the 10.7s this year instead of the 10.8s, so I sure hope so. Philip Lindsay, Denver South. Great young man. Philip, if he walked in this room, he has that bubbly personality, the kind of personality you just love to be around. He is so tough and physical. He's the Denver City leading rusher in the history of the city, and he only played 2 games his senior year. So he would have broke every record. He's a little guy, only in stature, but very strong and physical. When you watch any of his defensive highlights, he's like a demolition derby man. I mean, he just knocks you out. And I'm really excited about having Philip. He's a 3.5 student there at Denver South and has done really well. Hurt his knee, but is bringing it back, and I'm excited about what he's going to do for us. He's so excited about being a Colorado Buffalo, I can't explain to you. He will be a great ambassador for this university. Cepho, young man from Bellarmine Prep, quarterback. Very excited about him. Coach Ripshear, that was here before, did a good job of evaluating this young man, I think. He is big, physical, athletic, smart, can run a 4.6. He's 6'4.5", 215 pounds, can make all the throws. Played in an offense where he just wasn't like throwing it where he'd have all the gaudy numbers, but you can just see how athletic he is. He also is a double-double in basketball. He missed the first 3 weeks of the season because their football team went to the state finals, and their team was 2-5, and now they've won the last 13 out of the last 14 and won the league championship. Just a great leader. Really neat person. You know, went to his house. He's the oldest. His 2 younger brothers and sisters are autistic, and he helps take care of them and works with them. Just has a really neat heart. That's the best way to explain it. I think he will be a phenomenal leader on this football team, and I'm excited about Cepho coming here to play quarterback for us. So that's a little bit of our class. Our coaches did a phenomenal job. We'll keep working extremely hard for you. Practice is open. Come watch anytime. All I ask is don't put anything on the internet. Don't blog anything. And we're going to have fun out there at practice. We're going to keep getting better and better. And hopefully we'll see you at the spring game. And thank you very much for today. And go Buffs.